Whether you've heard of Dungeons and Dragons from Stranger Things, Cobra Kai, maybe that's just a friend that's talked to you about it and you have no idea what's going on, I've got you. Today, we're going to be diving into what is Dungeons and Dragons. We're going to break it down so that it's simple, easy to understand. So if you are ready to get obsessed with Dungeons and Dragons, let's do it. So what is Dungeons and Dragons? At its core, it is a tabletop role-playing game. You might have heard of TTRPG, that is tabletop role-playing game, or just RPG, role-playing game. Imagine mixing storytelling, improvisation, and then a little bit of strategy while throwing in some dice just to keep things unpredictable. It's a lot like collaborative storytelling where you get to be the hero, or the villain, or that weird wizard who talks to squirrels, whatever you want to be. There's a lot of different types of characters: the fierce warrior, a sneaky rogue, the spellcasting wizard, a quirky bard. You really can be whatever you want to be, with rules that kind of keep everybody on the same page. And yes, there is a rule book for Dungeons and Dragons, but take it from me, you don't need to memorize all the rules to still love and enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. So how do you play Dungeons and Dragons? Well, here's how it works. You and your friends create characters. You could be the clumsy bard, maybe you're the daring elf rogue, but then one person is the dungeon master or DM. The Dungeon Master guides the story. They set the scenes, they describe the world, they play all non-player characters like villagers, monsters, and the mysterious bartender who definitely knows more than they're letting on.
But in that quietness, you're able to really focus and hone in. And as the night passes into day, you keep walking through the day. I would say about 4 p.m, you come across a small alcove-ish cavern. Silas and Yaros, y'all spotted almost immediately that you think would be a perfect spot for a long rest in the Deep Hallows.
Everyone else then reacts to what the Dungeon Master is saying or describing about what's happening in the story. Maybe you are a rogue sneaking past a sleeping dragon, or maybe you decide for some reason to wake up the dragon. Your choices affect the story. But here's the twist. The dice decide your fate. Every character has abilities and stats. Things like strength, dexterity, and charisma that determine how good they are at certain tasks. What you just saw there was a character sheet that lays all of that information out for you. Want to lift a heavy boulder? That's a strength check. Trying to charm the guard? Roll for charisma. Let's say you're a rogue that wants to sneak past a guard. The DM would then ask for you to roll a stealth check. You would roll a d20, that's a 20-sided die, and then you would add your stealth bonus from your character sheet to what you rolled from the d20. Roll high, you sneak past unnoticed. Roll low, and well, you might trip over your own feet and alert the entire castle that your party is there. Combat is another big part of Dungeons and Dragons. During combat, each player takes their turn deciding what they would like to do, whether that be swinging a sword, casting a spell, or hiding behind the bravest character. The Dungeon Master or DM controls any enemies or monsters that you are fighting against. Everyone rolls dice to see if they hit, and then rolls dice for the damage that they do.
Ordello, what are you doing?
Well, I guess I'm just going to try to hit the one in front of us.
Would you like to make an insightful fighting?
I would love to.
All right,
yep,
go ahead.
I would love to do that to start us off. 20! Oh,
A nat 20?
a nat 20!
Out of the gate?
I said.
You need all the D6.
I
You need
said.
all the
But D&D is not just about fighting monsters. It's also about problem solving, teamwork, and being creative. You might have to negotiate a tricky merchant. You might have to solve a puzzle from an ancient ruin, or even cross a river where there is no bridge. And the best part is that there's no one way to solve any of these problems. It's really just what you and your friends find funny or fun or whatever you want to do. You'll hear a lot about the D20. That's this guy right here. When you want to do something risky like jump over a pit, convince a guard that you're totally not a spy, you roll the d20. A high roll means that you succeed. A low roll, well, that's where things get interesting and a lot of times pretty funny. But it's not just about success or failure. It's really about the story that's told based on how those rolls play out. A lot of times the failures lead to the best moments of stories that you could have never planned without the failure. Like you were going to kick a door open, but you rolled a nat 1. And so what happened is you stuck your foot in the door, fell on your face in front of your entire party, and the door didn't open. So why do people love D&D? Why is there such a buzz around this TTRPG? Well, it's the creativity, it's the connection, it's the storytelling. You get to build worlds, create characters, and go on these epic adventures with friends. It's like being in your favorite fantasy movie, except you get to decide what happens. And the best part is there's no right way to play Dungeons & Dragons. If you want it to be a serious, dramatic storytelling experience, awesome, go for it. If you want it to be the goofiest, most unrealistic thing that's ever happened, great, do your thing. And that's the magic of Dungeons & Dragons. It's about adventure and creativity and rolling with whatever the dice throw your way. Trust me, you are going to love Dungeons & Dragons. And if you would like an example of what D&D is like at the table, check out the 20 Sides podcast. Make sure that you like this video and you subscribe so that you don't miss a thing. Our podcast is available wherever you get podcasts. It's here on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, all those good things. Make sure you leave a comment and let us know if you have a party you're already playing with or if you're trying to look for parties. Maybe we can help make some connections in the comments here. And we'll see you the next time.